En vrai, 6 minutes, ça peut se lire, hein, c'est sous-titré. Vas-y, on va regarder ça vite fait, les mecs, avant Karim Zeribi. Vas-y, on va écouter. C'est d'actualité, on va écouter. Merci pour la vidéo.
Civilians in Rafah, of the 1.5 million people there, is Israel prepared to view as collateral damage to eliminate the remaining Hamas terrorists?
Piers, as you know, the IDF does our absolute utmost to avoid civilian casualties. Just in the first day of the operation, we've taken 100,000 citizens, civilians from Rafah out of Rafah.
Well, that leaves 1.4 million.
Okay, and it's a work in progress. So I can tell you that...
my question is that you're trying to eliminate Hamas completely, but in the process, already you've pretty much destroyed most of northern Gaza. You've already killed up to 40,000 people, depending on whether you accept the Hamas-run health authority numbers. Obviously, a number of those people are Hamas, and a large number are innocent civilians, women and children. And if you go into someone like Rafah, which has 1.5 million people who've been told to go there by Israel, who've been displaced from their homes, which have been destroyed in the main, and gone to this refugee camp, how many could die before Israel says we can't continue this operation?
Mec, on manque tellement de journalistes comme lui. Les mecs. Qui va lui poser des problèmes? Les mecs? Est-ce que vous pensez que les grands patrons anglais vont virer Piers Morgan? Personne. Qui, les mecs? Qui? Personne. Il nous manque des journalistes comme ça, mon gars.
Piers, we're fighting against Hamas, a genocidal terror organization. I've seen your coverage, your tremendous coverage of what Hamas did to us on October 7th. You and I know they want to do it again and again and again. That's their words, not mine. Now, we'll do what we have to do to go after Hamas, to avoid civilian casualties, something that we have successfully done. Out of that Hamas number that you just gave, more than 14,000 are terrorists that we took out. There's more than 25,000 Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists taken off the back.
How many civilians do you believe you've killed?
We don't have exact figures, as you know, it's the fog of war.
But you've got exact numbers for Hamas terrorists you've killed. Why wouldn't you know how many civilians you've killed?
Because obviously our focus is to go after the Hamas terrorists.
Hang on, that does imply that you're putting a bigger premium on killing Hamas terrorists in terms of numbers and accountability than you are on innocent civilians. That can't be right, surely. If you know exactly how many Hamas terrorists you've killed, you must know how many civilians you've killed.
Il a pas tort, hein. À moins que ce soit des mecs sans cœur et sans âme. Ils savent exactement combien de terroristes du Hamas ils ont réussi à tuer, mais ils connaissent même pas le nombre de civils qu'ils ont tués à côté. Ah, c'est trop une dinguerie. Il est en train de le cuisiner, hein. Là, j'aime bien les trucs comme ça, les mecs. J'aime bien quand il y a du cooking comme ça.
Otherwise, you're prioritizing the lives of terrorists over innocent people.
Piers, with respect, don't put words into my mouth, please. I didn't say exactly 14,000. I said around 14,000. Whereas Hamas will come out with precise numbers that statisticians will look at.
Give me a ballpark number for civilians.
Well, you can use the ballpark as far as the Hamas figures, which I reject as being false.
Well, if they're false, why would you give me those?
I gave you the numbers that I had.
No, you've told me you know how many Hamas terrorists you've killed, but you don't seem to have any idea how many civilians you've killed. I'm just bemused. Why wouldn't you keep count of both?
I don't have that information to give you, Piers. If I did, I would.
You've literally no idea how many civilians you've been killing.
I can tell you.
Il est beaucoup plus calme, hein. Je pense, les gars, que si on avait un meilleur Habib, si meilleur Habib il était là en train de se faire cuisiner par Piers Morgan, il aurait perdu son sang-froid. Il aurait perdu son sang-froid, frère. Il reste calme quand même s'il bégaye.
I'm sorry to push you on this. That's quite extraordinary. You're an official spokesman for the Israeli government, and you have no idea how many civilians you've killed. I thought you just told me that you were particularly careful about not killing civilians. But if you don't know how many you've killed, how can you say that with any certainty?
Because even if you were to go by a ratio of the Hamas figures, we would still be far ahead of any Western army.
That wasn't my question. You know it wasn't my question.
I don't have the information.
Well, you literally have no idea how many civilians you've killed.
It's not that I don't know. I'm not authorized to give the information. I don't have the information.
That's complete nonsense. Why are you authorized to give me the number of terrorists you've killed, but not the number of civilians? I don't understand.
Wesh?
Can you explain?
Piers, we will go after Hamas. We will ensure that we...
le silence.
You want me to believe you're being incredibly careful about how many civilians you're killing, and you have an amazing exemplary record, but you don't know how many civilians you're killing? So how do I know you've been careful?
Piers, when the dust settles, we will come out with the proper numbers. Hamas runs to the press daily with false.
When the dust settles, a lot of people will have died, and you know how many Hamas you've killed, but you don't know how many civilians you've killed. And I'm just asking you why. Why is it you've kept a record of one, but not the other?
I personally don't have that information to give to you. You can ask me over and over. I'm not going to come up with more information. I don't personally
you don't know.
I don't have that information for you.
But you're an official government spokesman for the Israeli government, and you have no.
Vous êtes le porte-parole officiel du gouvernement israélien et vous ne savez rien. Oh putain, c'est un sniper, hein.
No idea.
Piers, okay. I came on here to focus on what's going on with the war.
Well, actually, you came on here to answer my questions, I think.
Yeah, and I don't have an answer for you for that.
And I didn't intend to press you on this point because I assumed that you would not respond the way you have. But I've never had an Israeli spokesman who simply said, I have no idea. Particularly after you boasted about the fact that you've been very smart in the way you've avoided killing civilians. How do you know? You've got no idea when you killed.
Because I know the way in which the IDF operates. I know the way in which we go after the terrorists in the best possible ways. Israel goes out of its way to avoid civilian casualties. That's what we'll do. If you can point to me to another conflict by which they have evacuated, got out of harm's way civilians to the extent that Israel has done, then fine.
With respect, Mr. Hyman, how can you possibly expect me to accept any comparisons to any other conflict or war, given that you do not know how many civilians you've killed?
Pourquoi comparer si
you understand that I can't prosecute the war over the media.
I'm just asking you for basic information. I'm not trying to trap you. And I'm not trying to unfairly harangue you. I think people are watching this and they'll make their own conclusions. I just find it astonishing that the moment I asked you how many Hamas you killed, you could tell me immediately. And the moment I ask you about civilians, you haven't got a clue, literally. That you're not even prepared to issue a ballpark number. And I think people will find that staggering, particularly.
J'avoue que c'est stupéfiant quand même. Ils en ont tellement rien à foutre des civils qu'il n'y a même pas une comptabilité. Ils ont même pas compté le nombre de civils qu'ils ont tués. Parmi les terroristes qu'ils ont essayé de fumer, il y en a qui sont évitablement morts, évidemment morts, mais les civils derrière ça, mon gars, les dommages collatéraux, faut compter quand même, faut documenter tout ça.
Given that you are insistent that you're doing everything you can to avoid killing civilians, to which again I just simply ask, how do you know? If you don't know how many you're killing, how can you possibly be sure that you are A, doing better than other people waging war elsewhere? Or B, that you have any idea how many you're killing. You don't, clearly.
Ah là 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 là, les gars, quand est-ce qu'on aura des journalistes de cette trempe, des journalistes français, les mecs qui osent les bousculer, qui osent niquer la hiérarchie établie? Quand est-ce que ça va arriver, les mecs? Quand est-ce que ça va arriver? Jamais de la vie on verra ça, les mecs. Les Palestiniens ne sont pas des humains pour Israël d'Ofla. Après, oui, évidemment, on a vu plusieurs membres du gouvernement proférer des messages de haine envers les Palestiniens, qu'il faut raser Gaza, mettre une bombe nucléaire dans Rafah, qu'il faut tout raser, tout baiser. Enfin bref, c'est n'importe quoi. Ah là 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 là. Oui, bon, après Dofla, si t'es au courant des avis de Morgan, c'est pas trop ton truc. Pourquoi? Bah, tu peux m'expliquer du coup? Tu peux être précis ou tu voulais me sniper mais tu t'es raté encore une fois? Quand elle se moque des LGBT et autres. Mais moi je connais pas le personnage. Genre même s'il a un passif de merde, moi je te prends sur le fait accompli là maintenant, la vidéo qu'on a sous nos yeux. Donc si tu me dis que ce mec là est un anti-LGBT ou un je ne sais pas quoi, bah c'est une merde. Mais là je prends la vidéo telle qu'elle est quoi. Voilà, c'est pour ça que je te dis. Ok, pas de problème. Merci. C'est un bon. Alors, si c'est un anti-LGBT, c'est pas un bon. Donc, et si vous êtes anti-LGBT, vous n'êtes pas les bienvenus sur mes streams, les mecs. Donc voilà, c'est...